Hello again, welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to ATM Spellbound. So since the last episode, it's been a little bit of time. I've been doing some building and stuff. A couple quick things I do want to mention that I did is I did set up some warp plates. So we've got one that takes us to blood magic, one that takes us to the beehive. Basically, you just set these down, they make you a shard, and you slot it, and it basically just teleports you over to, you know, a given location, basically. So I did get those set up up here. If we pop on up, I've been doing some building up through here, and over here we have in our create area, I did do a little bit of work in here, and I set this up. Basically, if we throw items into this chest, it goes up to the crushing wheels and crushes those down, and then the items come down to here. And I've got just a regular dropper at the moment. Since we haven't started Botania or anything, I figured, well, we'll just go with a regular dropper. And we have a little redstone system right up here with the adjustable pulse repeaters, basically just cycling redstone. And I can pause that if I want to, like this, and then just toggle that lever to turn it back on. Back over here, I do have a redstone link. I have a cuckoo clock. This is just for decoration, is all it's for, this one. But I do have a redstone link here that's set to redstone. And it's being sent up to here, up to this gearbox, which of course sends its redstone down to the dropper. This one is set as the receiver. Of course, just right click that with a wrench. So I did go ahead and I set that up. But yeah, beyond that, not too much as far as setup stuff, just a lot of kind of working on this floor and bringing things up. I did start setting up this area, which we don't have it up and running just yet, but it's actually going to be an elevator. But let's go ahead and pop over to here. And this is a little area I've started setting up, and we're going to be using this today and expanding it a bit. I put lava lilies because they make really cool floor decorations. They're just over lunar stone. I put lava lilies in here. So we kind of have this like magic-y purple flooring. So the lunar cobblestone, it's not going to stay. Now the mod that we're going to start in today is going to be Ars. So I decided, really, as far as good heavy spell slinging, we got two options. We got Ars, or we have Mana and Artifice. Mana and Artifice is fun, it's great. I like it more for the extra items and not as much for the spell casting. It's got alright spell casting, but I do think that Ars has a bit more nice variety that we can make use of, but we will be doing both of them as time goes on. So, but anyways, we've got a few quests here. We do need to get our spell book. Let's go ahead and get cracking. And of course, lots of source gems to make arcane stone. I've already made some of this, but I'm sure we'll make some more as we progress. And there we go. There's our novice spell book. So we're going to go ahead and take that. And then while we're at it, let's go ahead and get ourselves... I know we're going to need some. Oh, let me make some glass. I'm going to have to set up some automated glass here fairly soon, because I'm finding myself making this a lot. And while we're waiting, we can actually go ahead and bump up to the Mage's spellbook, because why not? That way we can cast tier 2 glyphs. And then to get the Archmage, we are going to need a Totem of Undying. Yeah, we'll have to wait just a little bit on that. Okay, but let's go ahead and get ourselves a source jar. And then we're going to go ahead and get a glyph press. And actually, we do have a quest here on Blood Magic for the Corrosive Crystal Cluster. I turned in the rest of these, but this one does give us 5 XP levels, a Stuffed Hoglin, and a Tome of Peridia. Which I do think Tome of Peridia, we're going to change this over from our scroll, just because we have a little bit more control over how many levels we pull out, when, you know, kind of limiting how much we pull out. So I'm going to go ahead and just start extracting all of that, because we can lose the scroll now in favor of the tome, I do believe. And actually the Stuffed Hoglin, let's go ahead and put it in right there, I think. Alright, now next up we are going to need to make ourselves some magic clay. So we're going to go ahead and get a good 16 to get started. I'm sure we'll be making more of that. And then, is it Marvelous that comes after? I think it's Marvelous. Yeah, it's Marvelous that comes after. So let's go ahead and get some Marvelous clay also. we'll go ahead and make 16 of this. And then we'll jump back to the magic clay and get 16 of these. Alright, now as far as our source, I think for the quest they've got the agronomic, which is the crops, and the volcanic, which is, what, from heat, I think? Yeah, it consumes burnable items. And archwood logs generate bonus mana. Okay, well I don't actually want either of those at the moment. We'll probably make them just for the quest. We might set some up. But what we're going to be going with is Vitalic. And the reason being we can get source from mobs taking damage, which is quite nice. So let's get, really only need probably one of these. So we're going to go ahead and take that. And we're going to pop down to the, I think the Evil Craft area would probably be best. And we're just going to set this up kind of near... Oh yeah, what we've got to do... I've got a couple options here. Probably what I'm going to have to do here is at least let mobs spawn in this area for a little bit. So let's come down. Let's get rid of... I think it's this one that's going to be shutting it off. It might be the other one too. Let's go ahead and pull that up and hit the lever. Yeah, okay, now we're spawning mobs again. So what we're going to do is we're going to put in a Vitalic source link right here. And then we're going to put a source jar in. And this source jar is going to be setting just kind of near this. I think I want my Vitalic source link setting here. 24% full. Beautiful. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to get ourselves a few source relays. These are going to require source gem blocks. Let's go with like 4 of them to start with. Probably don't even need that many. Let's make 2 to start with. And then we'll go from there. Oh yeah, we're going to need enchanting apparatus though to get the Dominion wand. Okay, that's fine. We'll have to do a quick little setup here. Let's go ahead and get the enchanting apparatus. Oh, and it looks like for the quest, we're going to have to just do this. It's enchanting. Okay, there we go. And we got the enchanting apparatus. And then we're going to get the arcane pedestals. We're going to want 8 of these. And I am out of arcane stone. Go ahead and get another stack of that. There we go. And we're going to have to set this up just kind of close to our source jar. So we're just going to put it in, say right here. Technically we could move the jar and that would be fine. But this should be okay because we're only going to just make a Dominion wand real quick. So for the Dominion wand, this is going to be gold, 2 source gems, and a stick in the middle. Oh yeah, an arcane core. This right here, we're going to grab that. And can I... yeah. Put that right there. Drop the stick in. We're going to get some cool animations. And then after just a moment, boom, there's our Dominion wand. Okay, now we're going to break all this down. It's going to go into that other chest. That's fine. But if you have any kind of like just farms, like crop farms, you know, you can use, you can generate source from that. Source is a really easy resource to generate, as you can see. Most people will have mob farms or crop farms or something in place, you know. So what we're going to do, we're going to click right there, position set on the source jar. We're going to come over and set up our source relay. Now these can actually transfer pretty far, so we're going to try for a decent distance here. And we're going to come out... let's see if we could make it to here, maybe. Too far away. Okay. And we are going to have to re-grab this because it doesn't save position. Okay. We can set it to that. So it's going to send source from that source jar to this source relay. And then we can just grab this source relay and we can send it now over to here. And then what we can do is we can make ourselves like another, say, source jar, for example. Grab that. And we will probably end up setting this up as a splitter, maybe. I don't know if I want to go ahead and just do that. Which actually could give us... yeah, I'll tell you what we'll do. We will... let's see. Are there any quests for, like, moving... source at all? I don't think so. I think it's just like craft all the glyphs and then make these, make a potion jar. Ritual brazier. Okay. But we're going to go with a depositor. For right now, what we're going to do is we're going to send that to there. It's going to start taking the source that's being generated over there and dumping it into this source jar for just a moment. And then we're going to have the arcane core. And then to get our depositor, that's going to be hoppers and a source relay. We're actually going to make just another source relay at this point because I do want to keep this one here. And so we'll get this going. And then while that's crafting up, let's go ahead and get ourselves a fair few source jars. I'm going to go with 8. Yeah, we'll go with 8 for now. Let's go ahead and pull this one up. And shift right click that just to clear the connections. We're going to grab that. And our source storage, I think, is going to be over here. So what we're going to do is set up our source jars. We're going to have them be, say, here. And let me get one more like that. So we're going to have a nice source storage. And really what we can do is we can take even more and stack them if we want to. I might do some shelves that come out here. But let's go ahead and grab this. We're going to set that up right. Let's have it be set up right here. Just kind of floating. Right click that. And it's going to start sending. Basically what this does is it's just going to dump its source into anything within, I think it's 5 block or 6 block range. So it's just going to dump it into all the source jars that are available. So we'll have lots of source, basically stockpiled, so if we need to do something that takes a lot of source, generally not that common, but if we do, we will definitely be able to do that. Actually, yeah, this should be good right there. All right, now to get a splitter right here, that's going to be another source relay. So there we go. And the nice thing about this is it's going to be able to basically split. It's going to be able to pull from multiple jars and deposit to multiple places at once. So what we'll do is we will set up our splitter, and we're going to have this setting. Let's see. Would it be able to grab from those? Should be able to. So let's grab that. We're going to go ahead and tell it to all these different jars to send to this splitter. I think this is able to get from the source area over there, no problem. So we're not going to worry about that at the moment, but we're going to send source over to that side as well. So we basically just got plenty of source in this room. And we'll go ahead and set up some more source jars over here. So we've got even denser storage. I think both of these sides are going to be able to feed this and pretty much feed most of the room at this point without too much issue. Though we will be using source in some other places as well. But we're going to go ahead and start sending source over. And just like it can accept from multiple jars, it can send to multiple jars as well. So go ahead and send it over here. Which means that side won't back up for a little bit. We could have had the splitter here and then send it to depositors. But we're going to be able to send to other locations. Of course, the depositor range isn't that great. And this is also going to be where we send it to other locations and kind of have it relay off of that. So it's going to prioritize this side of the room. But after this runs for just a little bit of time, we're going to be backed up on source. So I'm not that worried about it. We do have a jar that's full here and one that's at 50%. So, okay, now what we're going to do, we did make this glyph press earlier. So let's go ahead and set this up. And we're going to have this setting. See if I put it here. That would actually be fine. So we're going to put our glyph press in right there. And if we take a look, if we wanted to make some glyphs. Of course, right now we can only cast tier 1 and tier 2. Right now we have touch, self, projectile, harm, and break by default. But of course, it is important to get as many possible glyphs in your book as you can, because it is going to increase your amount of mana that you have available. So let's see. Glyph of freeze is snow and magic clay. And we're going to put in our clay, put in snow, and that's going to start running. And there we go. There is our glyph of freeze. And then we can just right click that and it adds it to our spell books. And what we're going to make is we are going to make a glyph of cold snap. So this is going to be a glyph of freeze. And then we can pop in our marvelous clay and turn that into a cold snap spell. Now we're also going to need some better methods for transferring the spell. We're going to go ahead and grab that. So we don't have amplify yet. Let's go ahead and get amplify. And a few other spells that we're going to get and glyphs. We're going to get extend time, for starters. That's a tier 2. And then we are going to get snare. We're going to get speed, which is a minecart for that. And we're going to get amplify. And conjure mage light also. So now we've got a few different things in here, a few different augments, basically extend time and amplify. And then we're going to make ourselves a few different spells here. First up, we are going to make a projectile spell. And it is going to be a freeze. And we're going to extend time on that. We're going to call this one freeze. So, and then we're just going to create that. Now, our second spell that we're going to have another projectile. This one is going to be a cold snap, and we're going to be amplifying that. And for right now, we're just going to call that cold snap. We'll get into a little bit better, a little bit more intricate spells over time, and maybe we've got enough mana for this. So if I do that, yeah, it's not too bad. We're going to make some jewelry here in a moment that's going to help us out. And then let's go over to our third spell. We're going to be making a self spell. It's going to be speed, and we're going to amplify, and also extend time. We'll see what we end up with there, but we'll call that one speed. 4, we're going to have a projectile snare, and extend time. And we'll just call it snare. I know I'm not getting very creative. These are... and I'm not getting very creative with the names. We will make some other spells. But right now we need to get some basic spells going. And then I do want a conjure mage light. And we're just going to amplify that like 3 times. And we're going to call this light. Okay. So now we can hold this and we can quickly select our spells. Let's go into the controls real quick. Instead, it's set this to minus, so that way I can just quickly pull this up. And we can use it while we move. We just can't turn, which is fine. Freeze does not take a whole lot. Cold Snap does take a bit of our mana. Speed, this gives us speed 3. It actually gives it to us for 40 seconds, which is actually pretty massive. It does not require a whole lot of mana, and of course that mana regenerates back fairly quickly. Or it gives it to us for 38 seconds, which I think is sufficient. And that'll definitely get us out of a tight situation. And we've got Snare, so we can throw that out. Could always do that maybe on AoE. But I know AoE does buff up the mana cost quite a bit. And I'm kind of primarily thinking maybe more for bosses and not really for just general trash. And then we do have Light, so we can shoot that and it drops this Mage Light. And I'm thinking this would be quite nice for spawners. So at a distance, you know, we could shoot that and basically disable spawners at a distance before we have to actually get in within spawning range. Oh, it's so bad not having the speed effect anymore. Got to keep that up. Honestly, I'm thinking what we might do. Let's open this up. Let's go to our speed spell. And what if we got amplify, extend time. Let's go extend time, and create. So now if we hit speed, it takes a little bit more mana, but we get about 52, 53 seconds of it. Let's go real crazy with it. Oops. Gotta hit save. create. I think speed 3 is reasonable with all of our other additions. We actually move fairly quickly and we get over a minute of speed now. Yeah, I think a couple others that we're going to make. We're going to make Dispel. It's just a milk bucket, and that way we can kind of get rid of negative effects like Wither, for example. And then we also want to get Heal, I do believe. And I also think we're going to get Shield as well. Also, Heal is a great spell to have if you're starting into Blood Magic. You know, we don't need it at this point, but if you are starting into Blood Magic, it's wonderful. But I'm thinking instead of... Hearts are great, but since we're starting into Ars, we might as well just go ahead and make a proper heal spell at this point. Plus, we've got some more slots in this book, and this is going to give us a nice wide variety. And luckily, all the spells that we're making right now are fairly cheap. So, all right, so we'll make a few more spells. We're going to have Self Dispel, and that's all we really need. And we're going to call this Dispel. And we haven't really made any compound spells. We will, but not just yet. So, and then we're going to have Self Heal. And we're going to amplify, extend time. Extend time. And let's see how much mana this takes. Real quick. So if we hit that, it takes about half our mana, but we get regeneration 4 for 14 seconds. Which pretty much means we're going to be unkillable for 14 seconds, and before it comes off, we can pop that again. We could make it even higher, but honestly, even regeneration 3 would probably be overkill. So I think we're going to stick with regen 4. So, and then let's go ahead. Really OP spells here. And then we're going to make a self-shield spell. This is going to be amplify, extend time all the way. Let's try that. And we'll go ahead and create that as a shield spell. So if we have that up, it takes a bit of our mana, but we get Magic Shield 3 for a minute and 16 seconds roughly, which is, I believe it's on par with having Resistance 3, except it does physical and magical sources, which is kind of important because, like, if, say, we go to the Twilight Forest, we got bosses there that actually deal magical damage, so having Magic Shield 3 is going to be just as applicable there as dealing with physical attackers. So pretty powerful spell there as well. So we've got Freeze and Cold Snap, which are basically going to be damage spells. I'm actually thinking we might do a wand. Also, Cold Snap is going to be extremely good whenever we go to fight Guardians, because it does see Guardians and anything that's wet as being frozen. Whoops, I did not mean to do that. Alright, but we got a creeper here. We hit him with that. Boom, we hit him with the Cold Snap. 2 hits to kill him. We could amplify that to get more damage, of course, but that is pretty decent. It does seem like the damage is debuffed in the Blue Skies dimension, which is fine. That's not really a big deal for us, to be perfectly honest. Also, all of our XP has now been extracted. So one thing that we can do is we can take our Tome of Peridia, and we can shift right click, and we can basically just start storing up all of our XP. Unfortunately, no way to just really kind of bulk store it. So we have to sit here and hold right click. But we can store that up, and then we can extract as needed. However many levels we do want. So there we go. We have 246 levels in our Tome of Peridia. And at this point, I am going to take this Scroll of Ageless Wisdom. We don't really need that anymore. Let's see, could we, I feel like we could probably make a ring slot, and really the armor toughness, we could lose this at this point, because I am planning on doing a bit with Ars as we progress, including getting into, like the Blood Tome stuff, the Blood Gems, maybe getting an Enchanter's Bow, because we really don't have a bow at the moment, and having spell arrows would be nice. This is stuff that we'll kind of progressively move into, not all today. And I actually kind of want to do quite a bit with it. We might even change out our armor. We'd lose a little bit of defense, but... And I mean, Archmage robes are a little bit past where we're at the moment, but it's something that we might work towards here pretty soon. Because Archmage robes would be really, really nice if we want to do a lot of spell casting. Though I do think we're going to wait until we get our good spell books. So we can get tier 3 spells and stuff like that. But Yeah, so we might go ahead. A couple baubles that I would really like to have right now, like today, is Amulet of Mana Regen. We're going to need a dull trinket for this. And while we're at it, let's go ahead and get a dull ring as well. Okay, so to get the Amulet of Mana Regen, there's two different amulets here. Mana Boost, which gives maximum mana increase, which is good if you're going to cast a lot of spells and then have a lot of downtime between it. I like Mana Regen. It's just faster regeneration. So we're going to go with that. And then for our ring, I would like to go for greater discount. So we're going to need a total of 8 diamonds, 2 ender pearls, 2 blaze rods, and 4 source gems. Let's go ahead and lay out our first ring. There we go. I still think the ender pearls are a bit more expensive than the blaze rod. So it seems a little bit backwards, but that, and we're going to get the ring of greater discount. Because I think at this point we could cut out one of our Malum rings. And then we'll get our necklace. Also, the Enchanter's Shield could be good. So we could block and get mana. It would make a shield that's more than just preventing damage, because right now we don't really care about preventing the damage, but I don't know, we'll see. We're going to go ahead and switch this out. Yeah, because I think it can only go into the necklace slot. Now, as far as our rings go, I'm probably just going to drop like an ornate ring, I think. Yeah, we can lose that armor toughness, I think, at this point, and go with the greater discount. So now if we were to cast, let's say, let's go with our heal spell. Our mana comes back a little bit faster, and it takes a little bit less mana than it did before. Cold Snap, a little bit less mana. Alright, now we're going to get ourselves a Scribe's Table. Turn our attention over to that. And the Scribe's Table, it's going to be progressively more and more important for us. These things are quite useful. But this one we are going to be setting up, let's say, here. And then let's get ourselves a casting wand. Projectile Accelerate. And we're going to put that onto the table. And then we're going to go ahead and select our freeze spell. And actually, before we do that, freeze is so cheap. Let's make sure that our freeze spell has lots of extend time. So it keeps the freeze up for a very, very long time. It does take a little bit more mana this way, but that way we can cast a lot of cold snaps off of it. And then we're going to go ahead and just shift right click the table. Oh yeah, we got to remove the projectile part. So we're going to pull that off. We've got freeze, extend time. Whoops. Let me create. Then we're going to shift right click and we have set the spell. So we pull that off and you can see that we have projectile, accelerate, freeze, extend time times 8. Because it puts projectile and accelerate on there automatically. So we have these kind of fast moving projectiles here. And then at this point, we're just going to grab Cold Snap and let me go ahead also and just go up here and we're just going to clear this spell. So if we have our wand in the right hand, we can right click to shoot our spell. And then if we switch to this, then we can Cold Snap from that. So if I hit that and then we go Cold Snap, boom, it hits. And of course, it's always going to prioritize the spell book. Oh, and we killed it in 3 hits. That's great. Now the Cold Snap, can we amplify a bit more? How much mana is that going to take? It takes a whole lot of mana. Okay. But now if we were to hit that, and we Cold Snap, it kills the beetle in 2 hits, which is pretty good. It's actually a lot of damage. Now, one last thing I'd like to go ahead and get. Let's go ahead, toss in some magic clay and a bow. We're going to get another projectile. Oh yeah, we got a lot of source building up in here. There's our projectile. We're going to put that in. We're going to put a source gem block and a block of gold. Drop in a bow, and we're going to get ourselves an enchanter's bow. There we go. And this thing, you can put a spell into it, and basically whenever you fire, as long as you have mana, it will apply the spell effect to the arrow that you fire. And we're going to make a glyph of knockback. And then we're going to take that glyph of knockback and we're going to turn that into a glyph of wind shear. I don't think there's actually a quest for this one. But this is going to do increased damage to flying mobs, is what it does. And then we're going to open this up. Spell 1, we're going to make a spell that is just wind shear and amplifies. We're going to call this wind shear. And then if we put our bow onto the table and our wind shear is selected, let's go ahead and shift right click. Let me see. Well, yeah, that one doesn't start with a form glyph, but we're going to have projectile wind shear that's amplified 9 times. Then let's go ahead, clear this. And now if we fire an arrow from this, let me see how much mana this takes. It takes about half my bar, but it's going to probably do massive damage to flying mobs. Now it's also worth noting that the damage is going to be based on how high the mob is above the ground. So if we have like a zombie or something, it's not going to be that useful. But if we have, say, a phantom or a beetle or something like that, it's going to deal extra damage. The damage does cap off at about 10 blocks. So we're not going to get any more damage past that point. But with all of our amplify, it's actually going to be dealing a substantial amount of damage. Though, once again, if it's just a zombie or something like that, we're pretty much wasting mana to hit that. So this is going to be focused on aerial mobs, is the purpose of this bow. Now, I would like to get some armor up and going, but I think we're going to wait because the blaze fiber we can definitely do. Mage Bloom, super easy to get. Archmage Robe, we could do if we went to the end. So I think next episode we're going to go to the end. We're going to use our spiffy new bow to help us out there. And we're going to push on to the Archmage Robes. Before I bother enchanting, the mage stuff, not a whole lot of point in that. If we can just quickly move on to the Archmage Robes. Because the Archmage Robes, they're going to give us a whole lot more mana and a whole lot more mana discount than the tiers before them. And they're really good armor. So it doesn't feel like we're losing a whole lot of armor. Plus with our new buffs, that's going to help. We're going to have a lot of mana reduction, like cost reduction. And you can see that we actually got the achievement there. But you can see once we run out of mana, it fires basic arrows. So that's all well and good. It's going to be a basic bow, and it's repaired on mana as well. So we don't have to worry about mending or really even ever repairing it. If we throw this in here, there's quick draw, there's infinity. Okay. Well, we could go ahead and get infinity, I guess. What kind of books do I have? Because I know I'm going to want to put some books on here as well. I wonder if End Veil... I'm going to try something. I wonder if End Veil works. Because right now, of course, all Endermen are just automatically aggressive to us. But I wonder if End Veil makes it so Endermen just aren't aggressive. We're going to try it out come next episode. I'm hoping that our Shadow Step, though, is going to help us out a lot in the end. Do we want to go ahead and go for infinity? Because we can, maybe? Yeah, why not? So we got infinity on our bow. That's all we got, but that's fine. Oh, I wonder if volley... We might have to try volley. Because I wonder if it's going to make, 3 spell arrows. Because if so, that's going to be extremely good. And we got power 9. Yeah, we'll take that. Punch. I don't know if we want punch. What I'd really like is, True Shot and Quick Draw. There's True Shot 3, which I think should be pretty good. And there's Quick Draw 3, which should be pretty good. Okay, so let's try throwing all these together. Okay, we can't have volley with those, but that's okay. We got power, True Shot, and Quick Draw, and we could throw that onto the bow, and we got power and Quick Draw. Oh, we can't have True Shot on it. I guess with infinity. Okay, so I'll lose the True Shot. Accuracy and speed of arrows. It's kind of nice. And they can pierce. All those are pretty good. But, yeah, I still think infinity, power 9, and Quick Draw 3 should be pretty decent. Oh, yeah, it's almost instantaneous draw speed at this point. And it's probably going to deal a bunch of damage. Not to mention we have infinity. And what's great is it consumes our mana to do our durability, so we never have to worry about durability either. It's even better than mending. Boom, 2 shots on that beetle though. When it's flying. That's great stuff. But yeah, so anyways, I know it's about wrapping up point for this episode. So we're going to wind this one up here. But then, of course, next episode, we are going to find the end. And from that, then we're going to push into some Archmage robes. We're going to kill the Ender Dragon with our nifty new bow, which I think will be quite fun. It's long overdue, but now we have flight. We got a good melee weapon. Enderman may not attack us. I'm not 100% sure how that enchantment's going to play into Enigmatic Legacy, but we'll see. But if nothing else, we can just sit on our broom the whole time and be like, you can't get to us. We've got a good bow, good spells. It's a little bit costly on mana, but the bow's still going to be doing big damage, and then as long as we have the mana, it's going to be doing even bigger damage, and we don't have to worry about durability or arrows for that matter on it. So it's actually going to be a pretty potent bow. Not to mention it has power 9 and instant draw speed. So it's going to be pretty stout to say the least. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you did, as always, be sure and hit that like button and go ahead and subscribe if you're not already to stay updated with when new videos come out. And I hope to see you guys next time. So until then, as always, do take care, stay safe. I'll see you guys then.